There was only one game Sunday in the National Hockey League, and let me read this here, the summary of it, so that I have it right, Moose. It was in the nation's capital. The Ottawa Senators defeated the Dallas Stars 3-2 Sunday thanks to a pair of goals by Chris Tierney and a solid performance by Philip Gustafsson. Gustafsson made 32 saves in his first regular season NHL game since May 12th. Nick Paul also scored for Ottawa, who's now 2-1. Connor Brown had 3 assists, gives him 100 career. And Ottawa remains undefeated on home ice after 2 games at 2-0. And that is something because last season the Sens got off to an abysmal start, going 1-8-1 through their opening 10 games. Listen, we got to spend a minute on the National Hockey League right now. We're not even a week into the regular season. You want to call this Overreaction Monday? Where are the Habs fans at? They're 0-3, and they look like garbage. What else did I write down? The Winnipeg Jets are 0-2.
I know.
They've noticed in Winnipeg, I'm sure.
Well, you had Sarah Leske on last week, and
yeah,
she said, don't panic, okay? But they're panicking a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're a little concerned about who they're losing to and the scores and everything else. It's far too early to be worried about your team's start. It's more about the process and what do they look like on the ice more than the results early on. Yeah, but they are getting nervous. And especially in Montreal when you go to the Stanley Cup. You go to the Cup final, and then you come back, and it goes completely the opposite way. That makes you a little bit nervous that it's going to be a long season.
But I just realized it's not just football fans, it's sports fans in general that you jump to conclusions, you jump to the ledge, and I get it. And on the other side, Jenna Reagan, watching in Southern California right now, says, Sabres, Rod, Sabres, 2-0, which clearly tells me there's been a full moon over the last week in the National Hockey League. The Buffalo has not yet lost. Northside YEG, regular, watching on YouTube, says, we're planning the parade in Edmonton. You probably should. You probably should. They're a very good hockey team.
That is something, you know, when you talk about overreactions. That's not an overreaction.
Not in Edmonton.
Edmonton's 2-0 is a good 2-0. They're a much better hockey team than they were in the spring.
The Oilers?
The Oilers are a much better team.
They've gone to work to address some things. And you saw Ken Holland in the media room before the game Wednesday. What a nice haircut he had. All those Oiler guys were looking sharp.
Oh, yeah.
It was like they knew something. Yeah, they looked like the cat that swallowed the canary. All those guys, they're all sitting together around one table. All those Oiler management guys, right?
Yeah.
They look very confident.
Very confident. It feels, much like this is a team that knows they've taken the step to the next level, and they're deep. They're really deep now. I mean, Kyle Turris is going to play a real role with this team, it looks like. Zach Hyman's come in and changed a little bit of the culture with that middle 6 group. And Mike Smith, I mean, as old as he is and as sometimes it's an adventure for him, he's playing pretty well. So it's good times in Edmonton.
Lots of comments coming in. We cannot get to them all. One account on YouTube says, his name is astonishing. He says, the Jets are not going to make the playoffs. Good news for the Oilers. You know they're in different divisions, right? From Jeff, the Stamps fan, he says, McDavid looks like the Hart Trophy winner, that's for sure. And he does. And I do want to spend a minute on this. I was on the radio in Toledo on Sunday. You've been on the show, the cheap seats. And Mick and his co-host were saying, I don't know, I assume you got up Sunday and listened to it. You must have listened to that, didn't you? They said that if you played a drinking game watching Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday and took a shot every time they said Battle of Alberta, you'd have been passed out and gone to the hospital by the end of the first period with alcohol poisoning. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I love you, but I can't go along with that. That's just dumb. It's the Battle of Alberta. It's the BOA. I thought about that game all day long, and neither one of those teams are really my teams. Although I'm getting on the Oilers bandwagon because they treated us so well last week. But you get my point. I was excited all day. And then I left that banquet early Saturday night. I'm like, sorry, Elmer, but the BOA's on Hockey Night in Canada. I got to go. And he's like, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
And I listen on the radio on the way home, and it was Battle of Alberta, the Flames think they're tough. They're going to come in and try and run us out of the rink. And I'm like, yeah, this is what gets my blood flowing, you know. And then I turn on Hockey Night in Canada, and they're brawling. Whether or not there was no fighting. Today's NHL,
that was a brawl.
Right. Right. Let's not get crazy here.
It was a crowd around the bench.
Was right. They were speaking not nicely to each other, okay? And I'm like, guys, it's the Battle of Alberta. There's blood spilling in the streets. This is what I want. I don't know what the NHL wants. And they're like, I'm just thinking, you guys, you're just not hockey guys. You're not dyed-in-the-wool hockey fans. And that's fine. And then the Flames are home to the Ducks tonight. It's their home opener. And, you know, the Flames fans are sitting there going, are we what we saw Saturday in Calgary? Or what are we? In Edmonton, and they're going to find out tonight, maybe against an Anaheim Ducks team that's looked pretty good in the opening going. So, again, we're not even a week into the regular season, I guess is what my point is. And yet fans are making judgments, final assessments of their team. And I guess we just got to sit and roll with it.
Well, if you want to do that, LA Kings are going to be really good. Anze Kopitar looks like he's going to win the Hart Trophy.
Right.
He was unbelievable. I think in 2 games, did he have like 4 goals and 7 or 8 points? I mean, he was awesome. You can't put a lot of stock into it, but man, is it fun. And we'll figure out where all these teams sit. But I'm kind of getting on this. Let's see how long the Buffalo Sabres can go undefeated.
Well, that could be some good trends. What are you watching this week in the National Hockey League?
Yes.
When does Montreal get its first win? And by the way, producer Clark was saying that Adam Brooks is centering. Who's he centering tonight? Hoffman and Gallagher in the next game. Who the hell's Montreal? They got San Jose tomorrow night. And he's like, you don't need to say it on the air, just telling you that Adam Brooks is starting. And I said, well, why not? He was a captain of the Regina Pats. He was a 100-point guy. And when I was driving home driving somewhere on Saturday, I was listening to NHL radio. And they were carrying the introductions from the Bell Center, the Montreal Canadiens against the New York Rangers. And I happened to hear Adam Brooks introduced. And I didn't know if he was dressed or not dressed. Because in Montreal, they introduce the popcorn vendors.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. I'm getting shivers driving around. I feel like pulling over and standing at attention, listening to the Montreal Canadiens introductions from the Bell Center.
You can hear the history.
Yes.
And you can feel it.
They do it so right.
Sometimes we do business on the show and just take care of business. I meant to ask you this in the pre-show meeting, but at what point in the NHL season do you start introducing the top 5, bottom 5? Because at what point is it real?
Next week.
Is it a weekend, couple weeks in?
When you start to know what you have.
All right.
See how we, I love how the comments, we just steer everybody. We're like a watch in front of them. First it was CFL comments. It was NFL. Now it's NHL comments. Everybody wants to know. From Northside YEG, he says, what about Mike Smith? Is this guy going to play that well all year? I feel like Mike Smith has put something in the water at the treatment tank in Edmonton or whatever. Because they all love Mike Smith. They're forgetting about Grant Fuhr in Edmonton because they love Mike Smith. And I'm like, did you guys not see the 30-foot wrist shot from the left wing boards he let in the other night? Did you miss that? I don't understand what hold Mike Smith has over the city of Edmonton. Because all day long we were listening, driving home to the sports radio, and they said, Mike Smith, was he great last night? The game should have never gone to overtime but for Mike Smith. What's the deal? And Connor McDavid scored 3 goals against the Flames, not Mike Smith. But I'm sorry, you guys keep believing that, but I just think, unfortunately, I don't know that Mike Smith's going to be there in the end.
The numbers are good right now. But you're a goalie guy, and you watch the process, and you kind of pointed out it's a bit of an adventure every time the puck's around. He's keeping it out for now. Does that catch up to him eventually, right? And all signs point to, it does, but it's fun. He's keeping him out for now.
James in Borden, Manitoba is watching. He says, Rod, I think maybe you should inform God that the Pats are his team because I think he's an ice guy. Oh, good. Yeah, we got a lot of losses, okay? Think we've lost 5 in a row with God's team, the Regina Pats, but that's okay. And you got it wrong. God's not a nice guy. He's a nice guy. You got it wrong. We were charitable on the weekend and gave Winnipeg a couple of wins. They're a very good hockey team, those Winnipeg guys. But that doesn't change. Next time I talk to God, because I already did today, next time I'll mention, hey, did you want to sprinkle a little on the path so we could use it? Friday night, by the way, home to the Saskatoon Blades. And we will have the broadcast. Jennifer's watching from the Four Seasons Sports Palace, and she says, fantastic win against the Flames. Connor with the Hattie was even better. I don't want to say who, but his initials might have been Todd Pinkney, one of our P1s, writes in and says, maybe that would be a good poll question on Monday. Should McDavid's hat trick count because his third was into an empty net? I'm like, what? What? Why wouldn't it count? What are you talking about?
Texted me the same thing.
Sorry to out you. Get out of here with it. It doesn't count because it's an empty net goal. They all count.
But he did shovel that in with a defender in the net, and he was on the goal line too. He had about this much room, and he put it in the empty net.
They don't ask how, buddy. They ask how many. And Connor had a Hattie against the Calgary Flames Saturday night. Come on. And by the way, the comments are coming in so fast and furious that I'm just going to drop this. We are building. It's taking a little longer than I would like. You know that. But a booster club, a fan club, like the teams used to have. And for a membership fee monthly, you'll get merchandise. You'll get first entrance to our events, our parties. And your comments will go to the front of the line on YouTube and Facebook for as long as we're on Facebook. Because, again, I can't keep up with how fast these comments are coming in. But do we have an ETA on when that booster club will be introduced?
Put a deadline on it.
Me?
90 days.
What's today? October 18th? How about the new year?
J1. Yeah, January 1st.
Okay.
Let's do it.
January 1, we'll have the booster club. And you can join the booster club, and you'll have your own school bus to come to events with. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.